This is called Exorcist. My family lived in a San Diego County neighborhood along the foothill sprawl northeast of Cowles Mountain. When I was 15, my 10-year-old brother was attacked by a dog. This was back when I was a room kid. I stayed in, making up sad stories in all stages of the daylight that fell through my window. The sun would set at the hills not far beyond. For moments, I would continue writing blindly in the dark. I had this thing about dogs. Everything was connected to dogs. Did you know they call it a sundog when such and such a thing happens to the sun? Did you know there was a saint who had a dog face? Do you know the Nick Drake song? Black-Eyed Dog? I stopped going to school because I hated it there. My parents, they stopped coming home because they probably hated it there. My little brother watched TV in the living room. I was alone in my room, asking questions about dogs to no one. Like on the tarot card, the Fool, the one where the jester teeters gaily along the precipice of some deep chasm. Why is there a dog at the heel of the jester? Why a dog? One day, someone had an answer for me. It was a little make-believe dog. I imagined it showed up in my room. It talked and knew the answers to all of my quizzes. That and more. This dog reminded me to eat and to sleep. This dog fetched books on dog things, but also on space things too. This dog's own interest was space, traveling through space. Pretending it was an astronaut, and I'd play along. The whole thing was very Laika, very cute, a space dog. I'd lay on top of my covers and close my eyes. The daylight from my window now a filtered red through my eyelids. You are a dog in space, the dog would tell me. The TV playing in the other room is unintelligible radiation static. You are lost in space and you are alone. So that was that for a long while. I did astronaut exercises and became very thirsty. You cannot leave the cabin. Space is a vacuum, the dog would say. I wanted water from the faucet in the kitchen or even the bathroom. We would be quiet and hear only the TV. You can't leave the cabin. Filter your urine and drink it if you are thirsty, the dog said. But I could never. I held my bladder and it hurt. I didn't drink a thing or eat. In space, there are no days. I had to pretend not to see the sunset outside of my window. I had to pretend over and over again. Then there was the time I woke up to the smell of burning. Not far outside my window, flames plummeted upward from the surrounding hills like an immense curtain dropped into a metallic sky. This was 2003. Remember there were fires here back then? I didn't know what to do. This is the part of the story I still don't know how to tell. The facts are 2 boys and a talking dog were alone in a house where the backyard will soon be on fire. My brother was now playing the TV even louder, and this was stressing me out. He laughed at something awful. Should I go to the living room and finally be a big brother? Or was it too late? There was a fire outside. My window became blinded with smoke. The dog threatened me. If you compromise this mission by opening that door, the hatch, I will hurt everybody you love, and I will tear them limb from limb. I left the room anyway. The dog was a blur between my legs and it raced out ahead of me. The hallway was free from smoke. There was oxygen. It didn't seem to be a cold, unforgiving vacuum of space after all. Have you ever heard a dog attack? Anyway, it sounded like that down the hall all of a sudden. I wanted to turn back and shut the door and let somebody else find my mutilated brother. Did you ever feel that way when you were younger? I went on. My brother was there in the living room, the dog on top of him like in a violent oil painting. Have you ever seen a dog pinning something down? Shaking it and pinning it down? It looked like that. I was scared to see it. I didn't know what to do. It was getting worse. I said something I didn't think anyone could hear, but the dog stopped and it turned to me and I could see its pink gums and I can see its thin crescent white of its eyes, and it put its head low and it said, "What did you say?" So I said it again. I said, "No." I said, "Bad dog. Go." And it left. It leapt into the sliding glass window, right into the glass, shattering it, and then scrambling through it, struggling, bleeding everywhere, letting the fire in, and then it was gone, straight into the hills. My little brother led me by the hand out the front door. He put me on my bike and he stood on my back pegs, braced himself against me, told me to go. So that's what I've been thinking about. There are now tract homes in those hills behind my mom's house. Sheriffs and city police live there. On the other side is a county landfill, then some freeway. But mostly it's a whole lot of chaparral.
You took it as a sign to
unending hills and valleys rolled out into the coast, ragged. The fauna is plentiful. Among them coyotes and other wild dogs.
I knew Warhol property that's right.
This is called Sorcerer. In the 1982 musical youth song, Pass the Duchy, a child says music happens to be the food of love. I remember there was this one day during the summer, we had both dropped out of high school, that you came over to my mom's place. You stood on my doorstep and you knocked, and I saw you through the bathroom window, and I saw you take off your headphones. When I answered the door, I was affected by something. So I asked you, why do you seem so different? And it's true. You were never the same after that moment. And we laughed, and I didn't invite you in. We went out into the sunlight. We snuck out onto the golf course and hopped the fence on the other side onto the freeway. We went up onto the overpass they were still building. Cars flew by and honked, and we waved and sat at the edge of the overpass, halfway built among abandoned construction machinery. You nudged me. You said that someone down below said that they were calling the police. I didn't hear them. I couldn't make out their face. I waved. We waited. After some time, the sky deepened, and we found the sheriffs had lined their cars along the street down below. They had us surrounded, but we would never come down. I had a question for you, but we ran off in opposite directions, and you spent the rest of your summer in community service. Then, after that, you were arrested in Mexico. I wanted to know, what were you listening to on your headphones that day? And if it changed everything for you.